Hello and welcome to my channel. Here I review new movies and television shows and release a new video every day from Monday to Friday. Today I want to talk about A Neighbor's Vendetta. It's a drama/thriller that revolves around a woman and her husband moving away from the city to work on their marriage. Things are finally looking up for the struggling couple when somebody from the woman's past arrives and throws a wrench into their plans. The film was written and directed by Rainey Kerwin and stars Chelsea Gilligan as Sonia, Stephen Good as Sonia's husband, Jason, and Sidney Cole Alexander as the stranger who shows up. As usual, there are minor spoilers in this review, so beware. The story starts out with Sonia and Jason separated and about to be divorced. They've been at odds for a while and the papers are about to be signed. Sonia is having an affair with a man named Robert. She meets with her secret lover and realizes in the midst of their tryst that she isn't over Jason and breaks things off. Later that night, they have one final fling, and then Sonia messages him one last time. A few days later, Jason comes to see her, the two have a conversation and make up, and then they make a plan to move out of the city and work on their relationship. On their first day out in the new cabin, Sonia is called back into the city for work, and a strange woman arrives in the middle of the night, banging on the door. When Jason answers it, he finds their new neighbor Mia. Her power's gone out, and she needs help. From there, the story takes a rather boring and predictable path that is made even more obvious if you read or watched anything about this movie beforehand. The trailer straight up tells the whole story and has shots from the end of the film in it. The synopsis gives away all the crucial details, and the film gives away her motivations straight away. The only thing left to wonder is how far she's going to go. The characters aren't particularly interesting, and their actions aren't either. We're introduced to 3 major characters and a few unimportant side characters. It's a small cast, and yet we still don't learn much about any of them apart from their role in the events leading up to the film and their job. The story relies on Sonia and Jason being totally helpless, and the stranger's plan is filled with holes. It could easily be foiled by either Jason or Sonia being honest with one another, and it also relies on Jason trusting a complete stranger to an exceptional degree even though they are showing obvious signs of an ulterior motive. There wasn't enough story content to fill the full hour and a half, so they ended up looping on the relationship problems a few times, and the way everything ends up working out perfectly feels overly contrived and too easy. I was bored and constantly looking at my clock. Most of the movie's screen time is spent with Sonia, an architect and the wife of Jason. She's a normal person going through a rough patch after losing her baby. The loss of her child made being intimate with her husband difficult for her, and the two grew apart because of it. She spends most of the film fighting with Jason about their problems and having conversations with Mia where she suspects something is up but can't pinpoint what. She gets stalked a few times throughout the movie and even walks into the lion's den once, but is ultimately a helpless victim. Aside from reacting to the woman's intrusion into her life and fighting with her husband, she also has several conversations with her therapist that explain where her thoughts are at and a short affair with Robert in the beginning. Chelsea Gilligan, who plays Sonia, isn't particularly charismatic, but has decent chemistry with Stephen Good, who plays Jason, and Austin Jay, who plays Robert. She has moments where she is believable, but for the most part, her emotions come off as stunted. Next, we have Stephen Good, who plays Jason, and does the best job in the film. He comes off as a broken man, trying to find some way to help his wife get over her trauma. His character ends up being poorly written, but he does what he can with the role, and he gets the emotions right while providing ample screen presence. Jason spends most of his time fighting with Sonia and being nice to Mia. Like Sonia, he's a helpless victim and doesn't notice anything suspicious even when it's right in his face. The last main character is Mia, the woman who appears in the night. She's extremely pushy and flirty with a hint of something darker underneath the surface. She leads Jason into situations that will make him look bad and barely hides her contempt for Sonia. When the two are together, she literally fantasizes about attacking her and coats every word in a deadly toxin. Sidney Cole Alexander, who plays her, only has 2 expressions in this film, and the performance comes off as unhinged and awkward at the same time. She's got this menacing atmosphere around her. She almost never blinks, and she always wears a phony smile and niceness to disarm people. It doesn't work. When Alexander is asked to drop the facade, she comes off as mildly annoyed. And even when she's fake crying, it seems obvious what she's doing. She gets to do a few scenes where she is extremely upset, but she's just loud and frantic. In general, the cast didn't do much with their roles and didn't have much of a presence. Production-wise, the film has solid visuals and interesting camera angles that capture the story and characters clearly and present them in a clean and aesthetically pleasing way. But it only has a few jump scares and creep shots for thrills. There's a big focus on tension-building moments, with Jason and Sonia being watched from afar through a shaky viewpoint, and scenes of them reacting to strange noises, but every time the film sets up a jump scare, it turns out to be something mundane. The setup is well done, but the lack of payoff kind of defeats the purpose. The film also has a tendency to do bait and switch shots that make it look like one character is about to do something, only for the camera to reveal it's actually a different location with a different character. It's cool the first few times, but the gimmick gets overused. Sound-wise, the film is filled with rising tension tracks, ambient noise, and the occasional song that the characters are listening to. The film really only uses music to help build a tense atmosphere or color a conversation with a sour tone. Its use of silence alongside the tension tracks creates a good buildup of tension that helps make the jump scares and creep shots effective. Overall, I found that the film was well produced, but it didn't have a good cast and the writing wasn't good. The story is extremely simple and easy to figure out because the film basically lays everything out for you right away. It meanders around with little to keep you invested and then finally pops off at the end for a brief moment. It even makes the egregious error of ending on a cliffhanger that hints at a sequel. Pass on this one. 4 out of 10.